I am here with Mike Wellman and Bradley Rader, the co-creators of A Shadow Called Danger, which is right now a webcomic, but can be found around, at least around certain social media. Uh, who would like to tell me what it's about? I always like to let creators talk for themselves about that.
Well, I'll do the elevator speech. A Shadow Called Danger takes place in a present day alternate universe dystopia where Trump's attempted coup of January 6th, 2022 succeeded. Um, um, and it started out as in a slightly future-based um, dystopia. Mike and I had the idea to do this. We started the strip in 2006 as a commentary on the George W. Bush presidency. The premise being that he found a way to hold on to power indefinitely.
I didn't realize it had been going on that long, or it had existed that long
Well,
ago.
we started it in, I got a poked by a gay giveaway newspaper. Remember when they still had those, like the LA Weekly or whatever, called Metro G, based out of Long
Long,
Beach. Mike tells me, and so I got carte blanche to do a gay themed strip. Only our strip wasn't gay enough. I mean, we didn't do anything gay in the episodes that we gave them, and so they pulled the plug on us. And Mike told me that it was the magazine was went out of business shortly after that. In any case, um,
And now we
so
know why, because they
well,
pulled your
yes, it
strip.
has that has to be why. Um,
yeah.
um, so back in January of last year, I was working on a long-term artistic project. Basically, I'm doing illustrations for every canto in Dante Alighieri's Divine Comedy. And it was like around February. I was going, why am I doing this? When this is like we're the American democracy is at risk. And so I got the idea of setting it in present day, alternate universe where Trump won. I hit Mike up for it, and we started working on it, doing new episodes. And so now we're up to episode 30. I just sent Mike the artwork for episode 33 earlier today.
Okay,
It's gonna
and
drop tomorrow.
it's going to drop tomorrow. And I know you've been posting them on Facebook, but where else is there someplace else that people can get it?
That's it. Instagram and Facebook. Um, yeah.
Like
And
there's no safe place.
I'm sorry.
It's like there's no safe place. I mean, because I'm seeing so much criticism on Facebook and Instagram about the
Yeah,
tech oligarchs.
born in their
Bending.
side. So I'm not gonna retreat to blue sky like a lot of my friends. I mean, that's cool. I'm glad it's there, but how many times have we been like, "Oh, I'm leaving Facebook. I'm going to Zwink, or I'm going to this, or I'm going to that," and then 2 weeks later, that shit's gone, and we're all back on Facebook. Zuckerberg sucks, no question about it. But you know, yeah, that's where the town hall. That's where the town center is right now. It's Facebook, and you know what? I've read a few things, but like one of the things, like okay, so if all the voices like our own, okay,
Mhm.
leave Facebook, migrate to some other social media, isn't that just what they want? They want their own the echo chamber, the the communications hub. Like no matter, like Blue Sky's got a long way to come, long way to go before it's got the microphone of Facebook. The audience. Like I'm not
Yeah.
super famous. I got like 3,000 followers. I'm gonna okay, everybody, let's go over here now. Okay, everybody, the wind's
Well,
blowing
but it
this way.
doesn't have to be at all or nothing. We could just have blue sky being one more place we post.
And that's
Right.
quite
It
true.
was
That's
just
quite true. And let me
yeah.
contextualize. Also, Mike, we've known each other, good Lord, 20 years, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that's you. We met like in 2005. You were on the podcast when I did the podcast regularly. That was 2007. Uh, so we had met earlier at Comic Cons. Uh, it's been a few years since you've really focused on writing, and one of the reasons that I wanted to talk about this is because we are in, shall we say, difficult times. I have to be a little judicious, more than you do, uh, and uh, and out of that, I'm hoping great art is happening. Although, so when Brad reached out to you, what was the thing that made you say, yes, I'm back in?
Well, number one, when Brad reached out to me, I was probably at the bottom of the of my barrel of existence. He reached out to me. I was in rehab actually. Our dear friend Christy Shin had gotten me locked up in jail, and that's a story for another time. After jail, I went to rehab. She's in trouble currently for stealing 10 grand from Caps. That's also a story for another time. But keep that in, please.
Sure.
And when I got out of jail, when I got out of jail, I had to go to rehab, 90-day treatment. Now, I admittedly, I don't even think I kept it a secret that I was a raging alcoholic, uh, and it was great until it wasn't. And so I went to a 90-day inpatient alcohol, drug, and treatment clinic. And that was when Brad reached out. And it's funny because, in times like that, your life kind of remixes itself. And some people that were very loud in your life go down, their volume goes down. And some people that were maybe quieter in your life, the volume turns up. And I would say Brad was one of the people who really turned up in a great way. Um, because I had a bit of a rebirth. I'm not a Bible thumper. Just don't get it twisted. I haven't found Jesus. I'm still hail Satan. Uh,
I'd be okay if you had found Jesus too, but that's.
okay too, yeah. But Brad said, he wanted to dust this thing off, and with me with the comic books and collaboration, I wouldn't do this if it wasn't Brad and me doing it, and Brad pushing me, and I think sometimes I push Brad, and like we don't have the biggest audience right now. Uh, and I think that that's going to change because I feel like the world is starting to, whoa, wake up, even
I,
four
I
months
think
ago.
he, I think there's an audience looking for you, and that's why
We
again want to have the conversation. They may not know to look, and
we
they
to
should.
be the Mangione of comics.
Okay, I'm not going to go that far.
Well, I just want to say I wouldn't be doing this if it weren't for Mike. I mean, I I'm doing a lot of work on it, and I wouldn't be doing it if I weren't doing it with Mike.
and this is an adventure strip, and you're publishing. Is it weekly? No, not weekly
Well, we
episodes.
were doing it weekly. Now we're just by dire necessity of having to, maintain existence, dropping it down to every other week. But we're going to be
Yeah.
posting a lot of process stuff on the intervening weeks. We started doing that basically this last week.
So let me ask the difficult question, uh,
Yeah.
which is, do you think that expressing through the art that art can change minds?
Um, I do not know the answer to that question. I don't. Uh, I don't. I don't know. I mean, I'm
I
a
have an
member.
answer.
Mike was upfront about being in AA. I mean, being an alcoholic. I'll be upfront about being a member of Al-Anon, which is the Wives program. It's a 12-step program for people who are enablers of alcoholics or grew up in an alcoholic home or whatever.
Hmm.
And one of the it's a fairly common thread at meetings is how do we get newcomers to keep coming back? And, my attitude is screw the newcomers. They can come. I have no more control over whether a newcomer comes back than I do if my various alcoholics start drinking again or stop drinking or anything else.
Hmm.
I have no control over what people take from the art that I do.
All right.
I'd like to add that, Derek. I don't know that we're going to change minds, and you know, you're one of the people that pays good attention to my Facebook, and you've seen me get into arguments with Trumpers and stuff online,
Yeah.
and I do it with the intention of really changing their mind. What I do, what I really enjoy about arguing with Trumpers online, number one, it's like a schoolyard fight. You have an audience, people watch, and the people who agree with me, like talking to them in the bubble in the echo chamber, it's boring. I want to argue with somebody, and I want to, if I don't change their mind, I want the people who think like we do to feel as emboldened as they often feel. You know,
Right. That was the
bull-
other thing I was going to say.
they are such bullies, and they're proud of their ignorance, and they proudly misspell things. Like this guy today, he didn't even fucking know about the bird flu egg thing, you know. And he's like, "What do you mean? I'm glad I didn't bite it." And it's like, wow, I want to hold these people up. I'm like, look how fucking stupid these people are. Okay, they're like Exhibit A. But so much gets normalized. Like, you know, we've just released the January 6th attackers, you know, the people
Yeah.
that did this thing. And that's shocking for a day for people, but then it's going to be normal. So I want to normalize pushing back because, you know, before November 5th, I was out there blowing the horn for Kamala. Come on, this, you know, because that was really, it was one of two options. And I put a Kamala Harris comic together. We got it put out in record time. I think between the idea of having it and getting it out was 6 weeks. And I had a lot of people
Wow.
come to it. Um, and nobody wanted to talk about it. No comic shops wanted to host me. Nobody wanted to get involved in politics. You know, it's especially in our comic community. Nobody wanted to be divisive on our side, but they're not afraid to be fucking divisive on their side.
Yeah. Well,
And
and that's again one reason I wanted to give a little light is, I do think that I've come to this feeling that it's like we got to talk about it. I don't know, I don't know if I'd have the courage or the inclination. You have always been a stand-up guy. I've known you, like I said, for about 20 years, and you're good people. You always stand up for what's right, and that's what A Shadow Called Danger is about, struggling to stand up for what's right in a repressive thing. And I think it's time. Maybe you will inspire those that already do think, or may help refine some thinking. And yeah,
let me
so
real quick one thing that and because the book evolved, it's evolving because we really are writing it week to week. And one epiphany I had, I mean, I saw this immigration thing coming. I saw this mass deportation thing coming 2 months ago, and I started directing the story towards that. And when the strips drop, I'm gonna drop resources,
I'm,
actual.
I- I'm gonna hold. I'm gonna keep this in a recording too because I saw this because I've got a book on my shelf by a friend who was a New York Times reporter from his first presidency. It's all laid out there, you
Oh yeah.
know. So it can't come as a surprise. I mean, it can, but it shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone.
No, and I want to provide resources for people who, you know, families are facing detainment. I almost said detonation.
I
Detain,
hope not.
you
You know,
know, captivity and all this. You know, all these things are going to be. And the immediate concern for me right now is ICE and what's going down. It's going to be. I keep telling Brad, not that I'm licking my lips, but I'm like, it's going to happen tomorrow. It's going to happen tomorrow, and it's going to happen. I mean, all that shit's being put into place. And as for Project 2025 and, you know, Elon's Sieg Heal and all that stuff, you know, the people on the right are going to make excuses and try to tell us we're not seeing what we're seeing. Or when Trump says certain things, they don't know the word hyperbole, but they're saying, oh, he doesn't mean what he says. He can't mean what he says. No, the fuck he doesn't. He means exactly what he says. So Brad, I'm
Yeah.
hog. Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
No,
I, go ahead, Brett.
I, yeah,
Okay.
ditto.
Yeah. And I get the comics community, the comic shops, and it wanted to stay away. Like, this is probably the first time I've had a conversation where overtly talked
Well, I
politically.
just want to say one more thing, though. I would do want. It's like we became real clear. Like Trump, right out of the gate, he didn't roll it out slow and like sort of let us get used to it and do
Hmm.
the thing with the crab in the pot of hot water, cranking up the heat slow. He started right out the bat, full blast. You
And
Hmm.
he
know,
said he
seeing
would for six
seeing
months.
Yeah.
who can intimidate into silence. And I mean, that thing about releasing all the violent rioters from January 6th, he's got his like stormtroopers. And
Hmm.
he's sending a very clear message.
Yeah.
Watch what you say, watch what you do, or my goons will come for you.
Yeah. And
You
I
know.
am gonna say, people watching this interview, I promise that Fanboy Planet does have plenty of stupid, meaningless stuff, but I feel compelled that this is one of the most important conversations I could have this
Oh,
week. You know,
oh, yeah. To add to that, I worked in a comic store and I owned a comic store, and it was to the chagrin of some of my fans and followers and some of my customers. I didn't go to my store and preach anti-Trump shit but on my Facebook page I did,
hmm.
and there was a blurred line there that I'm supposed to be this guy that's telling you you're Spider-Man, and then all night long, but at night I see what's going on in the world. I get fired up about shit, and I still love Star Wars. I still love God, I can't wait for Superman. But in order to enjoy those things, we can't live in a country where people are being detained and shipped away, and we're invading fucking Panama and Greenland and Canada
I'm
and
gonna be honest. I hope not. I hope that there are still enough people that go, this is insane and can stand up. But I don't know that. But a
I think
shadow called danger may help, as we say,
yeah,
give some people the courage to do so. And so, both of you, thanks for taking the time to talk about this. I know that we will probably talk more, maybe not on, publicly, but you can't help it, right? I mean, we can't help it. We need to stand. So thank you both for taking a stand and